Hi, everybody. Chag Sameach, happy Passover, happy last day of Passover. If that is surprising news to you, I will explain in just a few moments why that is true, particularly for us Reform Jews. But first, given that it is the last day of Passover for Reform Jews, I want to ask you to dream with me a little bit. As of tonight, we can eat chametz. And so I'm wondering, what is the first piece of chametz you are going to eat? And what is the chametz you would most like to eat? If you could eat anything, if you could go anywhere to eat it, what have you been dreaming of, salivating for this last week of Passover? And of course, as this festival of matzah, of the bread of poor folks, of deprivation comes to an end, I can't help but think out further into the future of when this time of physical distancing comes to an end. So I want to ask the question I just asked in a more amplified way now. Once this is all over and the all clear is called out, what would you most like to do? How will you spend your first day of full freedom? Let's assume that there are no more healthcare scares, that there's no possibility of becoming infected or infecting anybody else. What would your dream day do? What would you do once these restrictions are lifted? We don't know how long that will be. And for some of us, it can be daunting or even upsetting to think about that. It just helps to process what we'll have to do today. But for some of us, remembering what's to come and dreaming about life, what life will be like, can also be really helpful. So I want to invite you to join me in dreaming, both about what chametz you're going to eat and about what you'll do once these restrictions are placed. If you could go anywhere, be with anyone. If you could write your answers in the comments below or post pictures, whether they're ones that you have taken or that you grab off the internet, I would love to see and for us to share these dreams and visions together. So why did I say Chag Sameach and that today is the last day of Passover, when for many Jews it is not? Let me explain. The Torah tells us that Chag HaMatzot, the festival of unleavened bread, is to last 7 days. And indeed, even until this day in the land of Israel, it lasts 7 days. But centuries ago, as Jews started to wander the earth, they weren't exactly sure when the 7 days ended. They knew when the festival began, the 15th of Nisan, the night of the full moon. That is very clear no matter where you are in the world. But they weren't exactly sure in the days before telescopes and long-distance communications when 7 days were up. So they added an 8th day to be absolutely sure that they were obeying the biblical injunctive to celebrate for 7 days in the land of Israel, add an 8th day outside, and make sure you're covered. In the 20th century, as Reformed Jews realized that we now know exactly when 7 days have finished in the land of Israel, we realized that we could return to the description of Passover as described in the Torah, that it is a 7-day festival. And that's why we observe 7 days, and it concludes tonight. One more little tidbit. The first and second day of the festival are Chag, are heightened days of sanctity, as is the last day for Reform Jews, last 2 days for conservative and Orthodox Jews outside the land of Israel. So those are the days on which pilgrimages would have been made to Jerusalem. That is the Hajj, or the Hajj, as we know from our Muslim brothers or sisters. That is the pilgrimage. So it's on those days, the first 2 and the last 1 or 2 days, that we say Chag Sameach, a joyous pilgrimage. On the other days, it is not a Chag, It is the intermediary days, and the proper greeting is Moadim L'Simcha, which can be translated as times of joy, but really means happy holidays. So it is not appropriate, actually, it's not correct, I should say, to say Chag Sameach in the intermediary days, but rather Moadim L'Simcha. Or I think it's always appropriate to say Pesach Sameach all throughout the days of the festival. Whether it is 7 days if you live in Israel or you are a Reform Jew, or the 8 days if you are conservative or Orthodox Jew outside the land of Israel. So, because it is the last day for us Reform Jews, I want to wish you all Chag Sameach.